Good evening, college football world. Do not change your television set or your monitors. It is me and Jackson Johnson come to you through the airwaves with the special edition of college football picks and analysis. It's rivalry week. It's the biggest time of the year. We're getting close to conference championship week. We're playing rivalries this week. I mean, this is the best time of year. And no, we are not doing this because we're not doing this early because we want to. We're doing this early because we love you. We love you people. And we could not wait any longer to get this out to you. And it's Thanksgiving, and who wants to work on Thanksgiving? I digress. But no, in all seriousness, though, guys, guys, though, it is Thanksgiving week, and we thought we'd bring it to you a little early to you, because we wouldn't want you to miss out on such great content. But with all that being said, I'm Sports Talk with Austin Williams as normal, and this is my partner in crime, the man who's going to help me break these rivalries down in these great traditions, the host of the Jacksonian, the host of the Voice of College Football at Alabama, and the man with the plan, my brother from another mother, Jackson Johnson. How are you? Happy rivalry week.
Happy rivalry week, good buddy. How you doing tonight?
How you feeling tonight? Oh, I'm doing good. It's been a great birthday night, and what better way to top it off? Thank you. 22 today, so what better way to top it off than being here with you and all of our fans and talking some great rivalries.
18 more years, and then you get to go, I'm a man, I'm 40.
Yes, precisely. But
I can't wait to turn 40 for that exact reason.
Oh goodness. I tell you what.
But because it was a few hours ago after a Maui Invitational matchup between Memphis and Michigan State. Oh, you got a happy birthday from our good buddy, Doc P. Good. Nice.
Thank you, Doc P. I've enjoyed it, and I'm blessed to see another day, and I'm happy to be here with you all and Jackson. It's always great.
Don't forget, 6 more days of your birth week.
We'll see.
And we celebrate birth weeks around here. But, the playoff rankings, it was going to happen. Oregon's number 1. I mean, they're pretty much the only team that's sure to go to the playoffs either way. I mean, they could lose out, and they're still in.
Exactly.
Huh?
I was agreeing with you. I was saying exactly. Unless they get blown out, then that's another discussion. But that's neither here nor there.
Oh, yeah. Well, and we see Texas, Ohio State, Penn State. They win their end. Notre Dame, they win their end. Miami, they basically win their end, in my opinion. I mean, I know it's like Miami's in the ACC, but again, people have so much nostalgia for the 80s. I don't see Miami getting left out unless they lose to Syracuse. Because if they lose to Syracuse this Saturday, which we'll get to that game in a little bit, they're basically out of the ACC title and they're out of the playoff race. Georgia, they're already in the SEC title game. They just need to make sure they beat Georgia Tech. But, I mean, who are we kidding? You're in the SEC title game. You're in no matter what. Do I agree with it?
Yeah.
No, that's just the way it goes. Same with the Big Ten. Tennessee, they win their end. SMU's going to have to beat Cal and win the ACC title. That is the team that I've been saying that can get screwed over.
And Jackson, SMU, and we'll get to Indiana here in a second, but they put a 2-loss Tennessee team ahead of them. Mm-hmm. What's the committee telling us? The committee's telling us they're doing this off eye test. They're saying, okay, even though you're both 10-1 and looked impressive, who have you beat? That's basically what the committee's telling us with them too. they're disrespecting the ACC and Indiana by saying, "Oh, Tennessee does have 2 losses, but they beat Alabama and they lost to Georgia, but Georgia might win the SEC, so we have to give them the nod."
Yeah. I think that's what it is, and SMU doesn't have that many big wins they can really brag about, unfortunately. I mean, yeah, they got a win over TCU. You can't really brag about being Florida State to your friends. Louisville's a good win, but unfortunately, it's not a good enough win in the committee's eyes. Pittsburgh has just collapsed all over itself. And that's why I'm just like,
Duke's
honestly,
a good win.
Yeah,
I would say Duke's a good win.
Go ahead.
But not to cut you off, but Duke's a good win, but they're kind of in the same boat as Louisville. Good, but not great. Not the win that the committee's going to be like, "Oh, SMU's a lot, no matter what happens." Ooh,
yeah.
Doc P says Pitts doesn't have a big win either. That's it. I agree with you. I won't speak for Jackson. I agree with you. But the problem is, though, is it's brand biasing.
If you're in the SEC or Big Ten, you're in.
Yeah. And here's the thing, and before we get to picking the game, I want to point something out. A lot of people said after Saturday, Alabama's all but certain, done, they're eliminated, it's kapooey, it's over, there's no path back, right? Well, the committee just basically told everybody Alabama's not done, Alabama's still breathing. What do you think of that, Jackson? Since you're the Bama man, what do you think?
I think if Alabama was in, like, say, Arizona State's position or Iowa State, we would not be talking about Alabama being in at 8-3 or 9-3. We would not, unfortunately. And I know,
and the thing,
go ahead. And
I noticed that. Go ahead.
And I noticed that Clemson, South Carolina, is basically a college football playoff second round game. That's what it looks like. It's basically a win and you're in.
Well, in Indiana, Jackson, even though they got ran off the field score-wise, the committee still got them in the playoffs. So that tells you right there that Indiana and the committee's eyes have dominated good enough in their schedule that they're like, even though you got blown out by Ohio State, you beat Purdue, I guess we'll let you in.
Yep. Yeah, and I commented on Hoosiers Live on tonight's edition with our buddy Only Taught Sports, where he said that where I put out a comment that if Indiana was in the ACC, they'd be out.
Yeah, that. I'll go ahead.
Yeah, they'd be out if they're in the ACC. You were saying, Austin.
I was just going to say that, like you said, if they were in the ACC, this would be Florida State all over again. That's what that would be. But what do you think about this, though, Jackson? As we look down these rankings, what about Ole Miss and Alabama? Right? They, even though they lost, the committee still has them in the top 15. Is that just SEC, brand supremacy? What do you contribute that to? Because they were 2 really ugly losses.
If Indiana's losing to Purdue, they're in trouble.
Because that's the thing. And you see Jackson, and the thing too is, and I want to bring this up while I'm thinking about it. Boise State, see, they're in good position, right? You win the Mountain West, you got to spot the playoffs. But what I heard tonight is very unsettling. Very unsettling. That the Big 12 champion could get left out completely because Tulane is sneaking around. Like they said, Tulane sneaking around, being very quiet. And some people think, even at the round table that they were talking about tonight, they were like, maybe Tulane could overthrow the Big 12 champion. What do you think about that scenario happening, Jackson? Or you think that's the committee and ESPN trying to get people talking for the week?
Oh, they gotta get people talking. Like, they're gonna screw the Big 12's getting screwed over. I mean, I don't see a single one in the top 15. But I mean, we know we're gonna see the Big 12 champ get in. But it's just like, good grief.
I don't know, Jackson. The way they were talking, they were trying to make a real convincing case that Tulane could overthrow the Big 12 champ. I hope for their sake it doesn't happen. I hope the committee does their due diligence and looks at everything. But if they think it creates them more money, they might do it.
Oh, one way or another, somebody's getting screwed.
And just real quick, going down the other rankings, we see a lot of the Big 12 teams piled there at the bottom, which is no shock.
No surprise there. Sucks, but
what do you think about Texas? What do you think about Texas A&M still being in the top 20, Jackson, after their loss to Auburn? What do you think of that?
No surprise.
And Docky says, I'd rather see Tulane in instead of Boise State. Oh, wow. Doc P, you're the first person I've talked to that has actually said that. Most everyone wants Boise in because they want to see Ashton Jeanty run all over the place. I know a lot of people were on the Tulane love train there for a while, but then they were just like, now it's all of a sudden gone. So now it's on Boise State. But what do you think of that, Jackson? Would you rather see Tulane?
Tulane sounds all right to me, but I mean, I don't want to see any conference get screwed over. Especially those smaller ones. I know.
Oh, Lord.
That sucks.
The Big 12 doesn't have rivalry week. That's kind of interesting.
Here we go.
Kind of interesting. That's kind of interesting. I never noticed that, Jackson. They legit don't have any legit like rivalries, do they? Not anymore.
Yeah. I mean, there's Kansas State, Iowa State, but it doesn't really count. But I mean, BYU, Utah to me is a legitimate rivalry.
That's my thing. Oh, and Doc P says Farmageddon. That's true. That's the thing. Schedule BYU for Utah for this week. It would make much more sense. But as you say, Jackson, they don't ask us for our opinion because we don't make them money.
Yeah. Missouri, if they were the heck? Yeah, Missouri. Oh, here we go. Here we go. And we got Dave Valinsky joining us on tonight's edition of the Pitts Analysis Show. I am so sorry about again. What the heck is going on with Stream? What the heck is going on with StreamYard tonight? I feel like I'm in a Chuck Jones cartoon.
But Doc P says Arizona State. That's true. Do they play? Yeah, they do. Never mind. But yeah, I mean, you got any more thoughts on the top 25, Jackson?
Well, I would like to see UNLV get in, but I'm gonna wait and see what happens with the Mount West title. But we had some other news, like Matt Brown getting fired today, which I mean, I didn't think
Yes.
Black Tuesday was going to be happening. Honestly, I thought because he was like, "Oh well, I'm returning," but that's not what the AD was saying.
Yeah. It's kind of one of those situations, Jackson. I'll say this. Like, I hope Mac Brown the best in his future. But as you've been telling me all year, you thought this was coming. You thought this was
Mhm.
coming after they gave up 73 to James Madison.
Oh
I
yeah,
remember the night that we talked about them. That I remember you telling me, you were like, they might fire him on the spot after that performance.
yeah.
I mean, I wish him the best. I mean, Jackson, you're the guy who likes to scout for head coaches.
Jamie Chadwell is
Who
one
do
of them. Andy Cotel Nicky from
you,
Penn State. Uh, John Summerall from Tulane.
I'm trying to think who else. Um, Ben Arbuckle, maybe.
He needs to get some more experience as a coordinator first.
What about Jamie Dicker? Or I think they say right from Washington State, their coach
James Dickard.
James Dicker. Thank you.
So it's just been sort of a cluster for North Carolina, which I warned that I thought he was out. I mean, the moment you're giving up 70 points, James Madison, you get your butt handed to you by Duke, blowing a 20-point lead against them, and you're blowing a lead. And we got our buddy, Dave Valinsky. Hopefully this time, again, it is messing with us. What? Come on. What is StreamYard doing? What is wrong? What is wrong? Not cool. Not cool, StreamYard.
And Doc P says, I got to think UNLV's coach will be getting offers. Yeah. Barry Odom might be getting NFL offers. Now, would he leave? I don't know. What do you think of that, Jackson? You think Barry Odom could be the man to take
Oh yeah.
Carolina back to the playoffs,
Well,
win the
look at it this
ACC?
way. Look at it this way. You're winning at UNLV. Nobody's gonna complain about you. And when you're winning and when you're at North Carolina, everybody's gonna throw you a Gatorade bath when you have a 10-win season.
That's true. That's true. That is true. But to put a bow on it, I'll say this. I wish Mac Brown much success. I hope he gets a win in his final game on Saturday, which we'll be predicting. And it just sucks, Jackson, that they're not letting him at least finish out because they are going bowling. I wish they would have let him go to the bowl game, hopefully win it, and then and hopefully end his career like that. It sucks that it had to be this way, but I guess North Carolina's going in a different direction than he thinks they're going. It's like when you got your girlfriend, when you're in a relationship, one's going this way and the other's going that way, and sometimes it's just best to break it off. But you know what, though? I'm happy that he at least is getting to play coach one final game. But I'll say this, Jackson. You know something? It stinks that the Egg Bowl is no longer on Thanksgiving night, but maybe this could be a brand new tradition. Memphis at Tulane on Thanksgiving night. What do you think of this game, good buddy?
I doubt that's going to be a Thanksgiving tradition. I think this is just a one-off year, but it'll be interesting to see it.
I'll say this about this game. Do you think Tulane has a look ahead?
No,
You don't think so?
no.
Because this
They're
is
think-
Memphis. Memphis. Oh, go ahead.
no, they're thinking about Memphis and what they're going to do to them, and then what they're going to do in the AAC title game.
Because Memphis is a borderline good team.
True.
I mean, when they beat Florida State, I know this year that's nothing to brag about. Let's not see them. Let's not kid ourselves with that. But I feel like with Memphis, even though they're 9-2 and are not playing for anything, I still feel like they're going to play hard. And it's a Thanksgiving game. There's tradition involved because it is Thanksgiving. And Memphis could still have a borderline good shot at a top-tier bowl game if they could beat a really good Tulane team.
True.
I'll let you pick first, good buddy. I'll let you pick first.
All right, man. I'm going to go Tulane 31-20.
I'll go Tulane 24-21. I think they win a squeaker. A squeaker on Thanksgiving.
Thank
Now,
you, man.
here's where the fun. This is where the fun begins, Jackson. While you're out doing shopping, while the kids are out making you go shopping on Black Friday, we've got football games to turn on. So while the wife's shopping for the baby clothes or whatever,
I'm not
you
shopping
could be
on
like,
Black Friday. I mean, I know this Black Friday slate looks sloppy, but that only means one thing. Upsets are coming.
and what better way to start it off? And if Clint Moses is here, he's going to love how we start this off. Oregon State at Boise State.
Spoiler?
What
Could
do you
we
think
see
of
a
this game,
spoiler? That's my question there. Is Ashton Genty going to get spoiled? That's what I'm wondering about. I know Clint Moses is hoping Oregon State is bowl eligible. That would be pretty huge.
I'll say this, Jackson. I think this will be a pretty fun game, but I feel like, and the reports are Genty is banged up. The reports are out there. He's dealing with some injuries. Don't know how much this is going to hamper Boise, but Oregon State could be the team, like you said, to play spoiler. And if Genty's not 100% healthy, I could see an upset here. Do I pull the trigger? No, I'll go Boise. I think I'll go Boise. They're at home. I'll go Boise 34-28.
I'm going to go Boise State 31-17.
And another game, Jackson, that has big not complications, big impact on conference title race. Oklahoma State, Colorado. Does Mike Gundy have one more upset left in him?
No. They're depressed as hell.
Jackson's like, no. You don't think Ollie Gordon's got one more little magic trick left?
I've seen
Colorado's season.
I've seen Eeyore happier than the Oklahoma State Cowboys this season. And Eeyore has a nail up his ass and lives in a broken down home. He's happier than Oklahoma State.
Jackson, Oklahoma State this year, they're, like you said, they're a young team. But I get the feeling, though. Mike Gundy's going to pull off one more upset. Like, if this is it for
You
him,
take
I feel
that
like he's
chance.
gonna go out. I feel like he wants to go out in style. Like, if this is it for Mike Gundy, which I doubt it is, but if it is, it would not shock me. He upstates and ruins Colorado's Big 12 title hopes. And it's on Black Friday too. What a better stage to do it! And on noon on ABC. Oh, I smell upset.
You go for it, man. You want to pick an upset? You go for it.
I'll let you go first, Jackson. Go first.
I'm gonna go Colorado 38-21 in this battle.
Do I go upset? Is there
You
going to be
do
enough
it.
Ollie Gordon?
Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it.
Because Kansas ran all over them last week. They looked unprepared. Oh,
You go for it,
no,
man.
I'll go.
Don't be scared.
I can't
Don't be
turn.
scared.
I can't turn on Deion Sanders. I think that was an anomaly. And Oklahoma State, like you said, they're pretty bad. I'll go Colorado 35-24.
Better than Florida State.
That's true.
Well, worse than Florida State. That's what I meant to say. We got to make sure we find Dave because we got the 2024 edition of the Paul Bunyanats game between the Minnesota Golden Gophers and the Wisconsin Badgers on CBS. How are you feeling about this game?
I want to start off by asking you this, Jackson. What do you think of the rumors of people being out on Luke Fickell? What do you think of that? Do you think they're throwing the baby out with the bathwater?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because they fired their offensive coordinator, Phil Longo, and now people are like wondering why Wisconsin's offense didn't have better. Jackson left, but it's all right though. It is all right though. I didn't make Jackson disappear, but
I don't know what happened.
there you are. I don't either. Jackson, I guess you were upset that I offended you with the Luke Fickell take.
Nah, the computer's messing around with me tonight. I'm gonna press restart when we get done with the show tonight.
See, people, this is what happens when we don't do it on Wednesdays. Chaos. But it's okay though. It's okay though. But yeah, back to the point. Wisconsin, Jackson, I feel like if Wisconsin, they're a team that they just they got so used to, with Paul Chris, he was consistently winning 8-9 games. And I think they got a little spoiled. Kind of like with Nick Saban and Alabama, they're kind of a little spoiled, not to the level that you all are spoiled, because y'all were winning titles. You all were the pimps of the SEC. Wisconsin, they were winning 8-9 games every year, just about, and they were happy. They were like, and the occasional Big Ten title appearance. But with Luke Fickell these last couple of years, they're just like, we don't want this. Take him back. They're like asking Cincinnati to take him back.
Yeah, and I remember, and we finally got our friend Dave Valinsky coming in with us to discuss Minnesota, Wisconsin. How you doing tonight, Dave?
I'm doing great. I've had the day off because I work 410s at the University of Minnesota. I get Tuesday. I start Monday. I start Sunday, Monday, and I only I have the rest of the week off basically because I work the regular scheduled days get moved back. So my vacation started on Tuesday, Wednesday instead of Thursday, Friday, which would be the normal work hours.
That's cool,
Dave,
man.
you popped in at the right time when we were talking about Minnesota, Wisconsin. I mean, what better timing? I mean, I don't know how we could have scripted that any better, but we did. So, Dave, you know more about this rivalry than I do. Take it away. You're the master at this. Go for it.
Well, this is the oldest, longest rivalry in the history of college football. It's the longest lasting rivalry. It's been constantly going on. It started off with Minnesota. Wisconsin came to Minnesota, and Minnesota beat them 62-0. The first annual meeting. And it took a while for the Badgers to finally win. And my earbuds are not working, and I don't know why. I'm having so many problems today. On a day I don't want to have problems.
What the earphones have is failure to communicate.
Yes. Yeah, I'm now taking them out since they're not working anyway. All right. So in the history of the rivalry, the first ever trophy was not the axe. It was the slab of bacon that started in 1930. And the story of how that ended up not being the trophy, because it got lost. And they didn't know Wisconsin was supposed to, from what I heard, there's two stories. The first story is the athletic director of Wisconsin was supposed to give the trophy to the athletic director of Minnesota after the 1943 game. The Gophers game, and the fans rushed the field. They forgot to exchange the trophy. And that's one story. Story number two is because the Minnesota coach, I don't remember his name at the time, but because Bernie Bierman was off to war, out of respect, they didn't exchange the trophy because Bernie Bierman was not there to accept the trophy.
George Hauser.
Yeah, George Hauser was the interim head coach for Bernie Bierman. So, and somehow along the way, it ended up in 1994 being found in the, I want to say, the basement of one of the Wisconsin libraries. And then they kind of had it. They were exchanging it along with the axe for a short while, and then Wisconsin just decided to keep it. There has been many times where this rivalry could have ended. During the Legends and Leaders, the Big Ten decided to get rid of the continuation of the rivalry. And the athletic director at the time, along with Brett Bielema, not Brett Bielema, but freaking Wisconsin's on the tip of my old Wisconsin coach, Barry Alvarez, which was the athletic director of Wisconsin at the time, decided, no, you cannot end this rivalry. This rivalry's been going on for years. It means so much to both schools. We're not going to sign off on the idea of getting rid of the rivalry. And that's when they started the whole entire outside of division rivalries. Then they finally joined the West anyway, so it didn't really matter. And then, of course, there was the COVID year where the Gophers ended up having COVID before the game was scheduled, but that ended up going on because the Big Ten decided all the rivalries that were missed, except for Ohio State, Michigan, at the time, because Ohio State I think had COVID the year they were supposed to play in 2020, and they just couldn't, because Ohio State was in the Big Ten championship game. They couldn't play that rivalry. But that's sort of a little bit of the history of that. The axe came in 1948 and has been the symbol of the rivalry ever since. That was given by the Wisconsin club.
Yeah, I'll say this. The one thing that concerns me coming into this game is Minnesota having a letdown moment. And here's why. Because you played a big opponent in Penn State, had them on the ropes. You put everything you had into that game, and you fell just short at the end. I could see a spot where this becomes a little bit of a letdown. And Wisconsin, they're playing for history because they've been 25, I believe it is, 24. It's in the 20s of streak of making a bowl game appearance. They have more to play for in terms of bowl eligibility. And obviously the rivalry, of course, to win the axe and everything, that plays a lot of it. But I think Wisconsin, they're going to be a little more hungry, in my opinion, because of the fact that not only is this a rivalry, but our season depends on it. And I'm just afraid Minnesota might come out a little flat because you all played such a great game against Penn State and you fell just short. That's just my view on it. I could be wrong.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
If you lost, I think who did Louisville play?
Pittsburgh.
Kentucky.
Okay.
That's what they're playing Pitt last
in
week.
A close game. Are you not going to still be up for Kentucky?
Be honest with you, knowing our history the last couple years, probably not. And if you watched us last couple years against Kentucky, Dave, we came out flat. Like, that's one of the things too. Like, a better example for this would be Jackson. Would be better because Alabama, right? We'll see how they come out against Auburn. But I just feel like you all were this close to ending Penn State's playoffs season. I just feel like that, you all might feel demoralized. Like, man, I just get that feeling. I could be way off, Dave. I could be, and you can roast me about it Saturday night. I'll take it.
Let me just say this. I'm going to say this right now, and there is no way Minnesota, if anything, will be angry after losing the game to Penn State, and they're going to take it on the Badgers. It's still going to be a tough fought game, but I think Minnesota pulls ahead. And that's just the way I feel about it. Last year, Minnesota had to go for the same thing that Wisconsin did. Their bowl season was on the line. Even though they ended up making a bowl game last year, it was only because of academics and there wasn't enough 6-6 teams to be in bowl games.
That's the thing too. And like I said, Dave, that's what makes this sport so beautiful. We all have different opinions. And like I said, I could be way off and you all could blow the doors off Wisconsin Saturday. And I'll be the first to admit I was very wrong. But the way I'm looking at it is teams like Minnesota, like a Louisville, like are kind of like we're in the middle tier of everything. When you play a big opponent and you come this close to beating them, there is always that potential for letdown.
I understand what you're saying, and I respect it. I just the whole idea of also going into that game knowing you can end Wisconsin's bull streak, knowing you could make Wisconsin trophyless. They lost to Iowa. They lost a trophy game to Iowa. They lost a trophy game to Nebraska. If they lose to Minnesota, they would lose all 3 trophies that they play for. And I think Minnesota is just also, I think Minnesota's also might be going in there feeling a little disrespected because Wisconsin is favored by 2 points and has not played very well.
Mm-hmm.
So I
And
really do
here's the thing,
believe that this game,
Mm-hmm.
it will start off being tight. Then Minnesota will pull away. I think it's going to be a 20-7 game. Minnesota.
What do you think, Jackson? Who you got winning Saturday? I mean, no, Friday. Pardon me.
For Friday, unfortunately, I feel like Wisconsin's got Minnesota's number as they clinch bowl eligibility.
Oh, boy. We're going to be public enemy number 1, Jackson. What's your score? And I'll give mine.
It's going to be a tight one. I think it's 20-17.
Oh, boy. Well, Dave, you get ready to have some receipts because I'm with Jackson. I'm going Wisconsin, too, on Friday. I'm going
All
Wisconsin 17-10.
Okay. All right. You're entitled to you guys' opinion. I just feel that Minnesota, the one thing I'm going to say about this, if Minnesota forces Wisconsin to pass the ball, I think the Gophers will take it. And I think they'll be able to create the turnovers that they need. What's the Wisconsin quarterback's name? Luke.
Oh, crap. What's his name, Jackson? Daggone it.
It's not Van Dyke. It's Locke.
Locke.
Oh, Braden Locke. Yes, well, thank you.
He's thrown 10 interceptions this year and only 12 touchdowns. He's thrown an interception in every game so far. And I think that if Minnesota stops the run, they're going to be able. I mean, Wisconsin still has good players enough. I feel they have maybe 1 or 2 good receivers. I think they have one guy they really go to, like how we go to Jackson pretty much almost every time. They also have a decent running game. But I've also, from what I heard from Wisconsin fans, they're very disappointed with their defensive line this year. They feel that the defensive line has had, I think, only a total of 7 sacks this year. And that's one of the reasons why they're in the situation that they are in.
I'll say this, Dave. Minnesota should put a whooping, as he says. But I'll say this.
It's put an ass whooping on whiskey.
Oh, boy. I'll say this. It should be a good game either way. No matter who's right and who's wrong, I just hope it's a good, clean game.
It's never a good, clean game.
Well,
should be
Dave
fine.
Linsky. Yes, Dave Linsky. Thank you for joining us. I don't know what happened, but Jackson, we appreciate Dave for coming on. But Jackson, we've got more Friday games. We'll turn next one on the docket.
Well, we've got our next one, the 2024 edition of the Egg Bowl. Ole Miss is technically still alive for a playoff bid, but Mississippi State can spoil all that with an upset victory.
They can. They can. I'll say this, Jackson. Mississippi State's really bad. Like, them and Purdue, they're one of the two worst teams, I think, in P4 this year. I'll let you go first, Jackson. Does Mississippi State have any chance at all?
Oh, Mississippi State is sloppy. Braska Rascal asks, how the hell is whiskey favorite? Well, it's easy. They've had a long winning streak over Minnesota, and a lot of people have gotten used to them winning over Minnesota. So there's that. Oh, you're good, man. The StreamYard and the Google was messing with me, so it's like it messed with me tonight on the Pits Analysis show.
It happens, but yeah. I'll say this, Jackson. I'll let you go first on the Egg Bowl. It's sad that it's not on Thanksgiving, but I digress.
Yeah, I don't like that it's not on Thanksgiving either, but as they say, it is what it is. Not on there. But again, the Ole Miss Rebels, if they win, they're basically having to wait for somebody to lose and they're good to go. But if they lose this Saturday, they're out altogether. No ifs, ands, or buts. They're out altogether. And Keep Chopping says the Egg Bowl will be nap time after eating leftovers.
True. That'll be our nap time.
I ain't napping if I can help it. I'm keeping an eye on.
Oh my goodness! But yeah,
that's how it works.
But Jackson, who do you got winning though, good buddy?
Ole Miss 38, Mississippi State 10.
I'll go Ole Miss 45-17.
In Austin, we got a very unusual game on Black Friday, and I'll tell you something. When I heard this announcement in the month of May, I was so happy. It's like I got an early Christmas gift. The 2024 edition of Clean Old Fashioned Hate is on Black Friday. And you know, the last time Georgia played on a weekday at Sanford Stadium was on 1994 against who? Georgia Tech. And what happened that day? The Bulldogs beat the Yellow Jackets 48-10. And the last time they played not on a Saturday was in 1995 on Thanksgiving. And of course, Georgia won 18-17 in a tight battle. 1993, they played on Thanksgiving, won 43-10. 1975, they played on Thanksgiving, 42-26. And in 1971, Georgia won 28-24 on Thanksgiving against the Yellow Jackets. Now, Georgia has played on Thanksgiving before and on Black Friday before, but it was against the Alabama Crimson Tide in the 1920s throughout that whole decade of the Roaring 20s. But that's another history lesson for another day. Y'all don't want to go to sleep because of me. I'm not going to put y'all to sleep. I don't want to put Austin to sleep either. He's had a good birthday. I'm going to make sure it's better.
I'll say that.
Go ahead, man.
I'll say this, Jim. I'm going to say this, Jackson. I think this is Georgia Tech's best chance to win this game because Georgia, as we know, Jackson, they've had some close calls this year. They almost lost to Kentucky. Kentucky, you know, this Georgia team, they're very beatable. I mean, they get blown out of the waters by Ole Miss. They play Kentucky closer than they should have. And as Doc P points out, Beck has been turnover machine. If that happens again, Georgia Tech will win. Yeah, he's thrown multiple interception games. Lagway goes down in that Florida game, and all of a sudden Georgia takes the lead, and that's history there. Georgia, in my opinion, Jackson, they could lose this game, like I just said, because Brent Key, hey, like you told me, Jackson, and I'm going to quote you on this. You said he would be bringing some tremendous magic to Georgia Tech in the near future. And Jackson, the more I go back and hear you say that in week 0, the more I'm starting to believe it. This man here, Brent Key, is an upset master. He upset Miami 2 years ago. He upset them this year. Can we see Georgia Tech finally beat the Bulldogs and ruin Georgia's playoff hopes?
I think it's closer than the experts have it. I've got Georgia winning 28-20 against Georgia Tech.
God, Georgia being a double-digit favorite, that's just disrespectful. That's just disrespectful. They need to show Brent Key some respect. Yeah, they need to show Brent Key some respect. But I'll say this. If Georgia plays like they want to be there, Georgia should win. But if they don't act like they don't want to be there, we could see an upset on Black Friday. I'm going to pick Georgia 27-24. I think they win on a last-second field goal at home.
Well, we know Georgia's basically in the playoffs either way, but it would be nice to see Georgia Tech just pull off that upset. I want to see that happen so bad. But we got the Nebraska-Iowa rivalry that's been a Black Friday staple, but this time, instead of it being on noon, no, Georgia Tech this year is in Athens. Next year, it's going to be at the Dome. Georgia Tech wanted it this way. I don't know why, but I guess they think everybody's going to pay attention to them more if they're at the Falcons Stadium, which, I mean, that's fair. But, I mean, I like for it to be at the Georgia Tech Stadium all the same. But Nebraska, Iowa, it's been a Black Friday staple. It honestly has gotten to the point where it's just like, it feels weird not seeing it on Black Friday. Matter of fact, seeing the Nebraska Cornhuskers on Black Friday is a college football tradition. It is basically a tradition seeing them on Black Friday. We've got so many memories.
Go ahead.
And, you know, I like that we're seeing it at night. I mean, at first I was like, I'm like you, Dot P. I was like, wait a minute, why are they playing this at night? Oh, they're putting another Big Ten game on there. Which, I mean, the first thing that I thought when Minnesota, Wisconsin was being put on noon on CBS, I thought to myself, they're moving down Nebraska, Iowa. No questions asked. That's what they're doing. And they pretty much did that. And you know, Nebraska. Oh yeah. And Nebraska is coming off a monumental victory over the Wisconsin Badgers. They have clinched bowl eligibility. The question is for the Cornhuskers, can they continue the momentum? And as for the Iowa Hawkeyes, it has been an up and down year. They've even scored 40 points a few times this year. But it's just backfired all over them. This season has just not been. What's going on down there? What is going on in Hawkeye City? I mean, they lost a tight one to Iowa State. They lost tight one to UCLA. They lost by double digits to Michigan State. You expect to see them lose to Ohio State. I'm not going to give you flack for losing to Ohio State, but I am going to give you flack for losing to Michigan State. I mean, that's not a Mark D'Antonio Michigan State team. That's a first-year Jonathan Smith team, but I mean, okay, whatever. But y'all got out Kurt Ferentz's son, and that's what matters. So, I mean, that's good there. What is going on with the Hawkeyes? What has been going on with them this season?
Jackson, I'll say this for Iowa. They're Iowa. This is what Iowa does. They go 8-4, 9-3. The occasional 10-2 make the Big Ten title appearance, and like you said, Jackson, that Michigan State loss, that's just baffling. I'm still trying to figure out how they lost that game by double digits. I'm still trying to figure that out. Like, if someone knows what happened that night, shoot me a DM on Twitter and let me know. Somebody. Because, like you said, Jackson, this isn't Dan Toney. This isn't Mel Tucker, Michigan State. This is Jonathan Smith rebuilding Michigan State, getting the brand back together. And Jackson, I gotta say this, but Iowa has an offense now. Can you believe it?
Mm-hmm. It's a shocker.
And it's like,
I'm impressed.
But yes, Jackson, Iowa has an offense, but the problem is they have their defense is taking a big downgrade. Go figures, right? They can't have a great defense and a good offense. They just can't have it. But I'll say this, Jackson. I am happy for Matt Rule that Nebraska finally is 6-5. They're going to make a bowl game, and Matt Rule can put to hush all them yappers on social media saying, we need to fire him. He sucks. Matt Rule's no good. No wonder why he couldn't make it at the Panthers. It's like, thank you, Matt Rule. Thank you, Nebraska, for making a bowl game. Oh, my gosh. Jackson, you will not believe how many of those social media Nebraska fans were wanting to fire Matt Rule. It's ridiculous. Makes me upset.
It's only just 2 or 3 crazies. It's not really. I don't think Nebraska fans were really wanting Rule to be gone. Like, if they were, I'd be like, take a look at your last
Shame on
8
them.
years.
But I'll say this, Jackson. I think what Nebraska's got going for the future is magnificent. Matt Rule, you'll not be disappointed with them. But as for this game on Black Friday, this is almost one of them games, Jackson. You could flip a coin on for me because Iowa has won the last few matchups they played, but this is a different Nebraska team. They finally have a quarterback. It's no longer Jeff Sims back there. I'll let you go first, good buddy. Who do you think's going to win this game?
I think Iowa wins this game 24-21 on Friday night.
I'll go Iowa with you because it is at night, but I think it'll be another close game. I'll go Iowa 24-20.
Well, we got a very disappointing Black Friday game to end the slate. Utah, Central Florida. Oh, my God.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
Well, this makes my pick easier. This makes my pick easier. Look who's the 10-point favorite.
Oh, goodness. Okay, whoever made this schedule, I need to get in contact with them because I got a few things to say. Why are we gonna have to watch this on Black Friday? Like, who's gonna watch this game?
I will. We will.
That's true.
Well, we're sickos,
That's
remember?
True.
We're sickos.
No, that's true. Yeah, we're sick. We have a disease. We like watching UCF Utah. Oh gosh.
I mean, it is part of our job description.
And 1-2 Jackson makes a very good point that could make a little bit of an interest to this game. Could be Coach Winningham's last game for Utah. What do you think? What do you think, Jackson?
Unfortunately,
is this it?
It would not surprise me because you don't just name a head coach in waiting because you're going to be returning next year. You don't do that. You don't name your DC your head coach in waiting because you're going to be back next year or the year after next. I think this is the last game of the Kyle Whittingham era, in my opinion. And if it's not, then 2025 is the last year. But either way, the Kyle Whittingham's had a beautiful era in Salt Lake City, Utah. It has been tremendous watching him make magic at Utah throughout the years when he took over for Urban Meyer. And in his fourth season, where he led them to an unbeaten season, including a monumental victory in the Sugar Bowl against the Alabama Crimson Tide. And we've seen him make magic throughout their era in the Pac-12 and much, much more. And I can tell you right now, if this is the last game of Kyle Whittingham, it has been an enjoyable ride. It has been much, much, much enjoyable. It has been so much fun watching him make magic. So it's going to be like that. It was so much fun. Now I'm going to retire, head off into the sunset, and go ride the horse and play some random Western music. And as for Central Florida, I told you about Central Florida people. They are not what the Big 12 is hoping they are with Malzahn. They are not. They're not going to win a Big 12 title. I did think they'd be this disappointing, though.
I'll say this, Jackson. If this is it, excuse me, if this is it for Coach Whittingham, it was a great career. You know, he has made Utah a top 25 program in the pantheon of history. Has everything to be proud of. I just wish Jackson, whatever it is he does next, whether that's an analyst or just gets on his porch and with his dogs and his grandkids, I wish him the best of luck if this is the end. And like you said, you don't name a head coach in return for another year. You don't name a successor and be like, oh, I'm going to be here the next 5 years or 3 years. And it's just like, I think 1-2 might have a point. This could be the end. So if it is, I hope for his sake they win. But UCF is the favorite, like you said, Jackson. And people need to understand the expectations with Gus Malzahn. He was great at Auburn. You know, he was great at Auburn. You know, did a lot of good things for Auburn. But this is UCF. And people having expectations that he's going to win them a Big 12 title and they're going to do all these great things. They need to temper that. But with all that being said, Jackson, because we're sickos, we'll still watch this game.
Yes, we will.
With that, all that being said, though, who are you picking in this game?
I'm going to go Utah on this one.
What's your score, good buddy?
I think Utah's going to win 21-17.
I'll go Utah 27-20.
And now the moment. Oh, go ahead.
And Kyle Whittingham can ride off into the sunset on his horse. Go ahead, good buddy.
There you go, man. Agreed. And finally, we've got to start off the Saturday slate. we've got the 2024 edition of the game between the Michigan Wolverines and the Ohio State Buckeyes on Big Noon Kickoff on Fox.
Oh my gosh, you see that spread? What the? All right.
I
I need
think
to
it's
have a word with Vegas.
I think honestly it's a mistake to be having Ohio State this big of a favorite. It's not like you're going against Brady Hoke, Michigan.
Oh my goodness, 21 points. When you're the history guy here, Jackson. When's the last time Ohio State was favored by that much?
Anytime Ohio State's been favored this big, it's been a loss for them. But that was during the John Cooper era.
Oh my goodness. I'll say this, Jackson. And 1-2 says Michigan is absolutely awful. Spread is justified. Here's the thing. I get that point, and I know everyone will say Michigan's bad, Michigan's terrible. Yes, we're not going to argue that, right, Jackson? You would agree Michigan is not very good, correct?
Yeah, I agree. They're not all that this season.
But the problem is, though, this is the game, though. This is one of the biggest rivalries across all college sports. You throw the records out on Saturday for this game. Records don't matter anymore.
Yup.
Like, that's the thing. People don't realize, Jackson, but rivalry week, you throw the records out the window. I don't care what your record is. And we'll talk about Alabama, Auburn a little bit later. Auburn, they're not 5-6. Alabama's not 8-3. It's Auburn, Alabama. Just like this. This is Ohio State, Michigan. This is simply put, in some people's opinion, the greatest rivalry in all of sports.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at it as disrespectful. Even if Michigan is bad, you still don't disrespect Michigan like that.
Nope.
And this is the thing. And 1-2 says if Ohio State could beat Indiana by 23, then how does Michigan get within 21? I get your point. Jackson, maybe you can help me out here a little bit. Are you in favor of Vegas making this a 21-point spread?
It should be at least 10 points.
I mean, instead of me yip-yapping, Jackson, what do you think of this game? Like, give the people your side of it.
Well, I know Michigan's not been very good this season, and I know they scored 50 points against Northwestern, but it's Northwestern we're talking here. And Ohio State's been losing the last 3 years against Michigan. So technically this should be the year, right? Well, wrong. Nothing is, you can't be too sure on the game. This is one of those matchups where you throw the records out. And 1-2 says if Ohio State can beat Indiana by 23, then how does Michigan get within 21? Good point. Because Michigan
Here's the thing.
has got more 5-stars
go
than
ahead.
the Hoosiers do.
And I'll say this, Jackson, and I thought this is very insightful. Michigan's defensive line, Jackson, is full of NFL-level talent. If Michigan's defensive line can get pressure on Will Howard and could slow their run game down, Michigan's got a legit chance as long as their offense is somewhat competent. But if Michigan's offense is Michigan offense we've seen throughout the year, okay, this could get ugly fast. But Michigan's defense will keep them in this game. Mark my words. I would not be surprised if this is if this is like a 3-point Ohio State win. Don't act shocked if they win by 3. Mark my words.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, too, Jackson. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, nothing basically surprises me at this point with this game.
Yes. And here's the thing, too, Jackson. And people talk about, Michigan being bad and everything. There's no pressure on Michigan in this game. You want to know why, Jackson? They've won this game 3 years in a row. They've won the Big Ten the last 3 years. Ohio State, all the pressure in the world's on them right now because they haven't won this game in 3 years. They haven't won the Big Ten in 3 years. Michigan's like, okay, no pressure. Ohio State, they've got every pressure. And Ryan Day, I'm sure he knows in the back of his head, if he doesn't win this game, this could be it for him. Like, a lot of Ohio State fans are fed up with him not winning this game. Like, I know it's crazy to say, but think about it. Ryan Day doesn't beat Michigan. This could be it. We could see him be put out on a rail, lose to Michigan 4 straight years, and have all this talent, and you still can beat Michigan at their worst. Oh boy, it might get ugly. All I got to say is on this before we make our pick, good buddy, is Ohio State better win or Ryan Day might be packing his bags on Sunday morning. So do you want to pick first? You want me to go first?
I'll go first. I caught a lot of hell the other night on the Michigan call-in show for saying, well, I think Ohio State's going to win 31-20. But I believe that's going to be the final score. Ohio State wins 31-20 against Michigan.
Like I said, I think this is a field goal game. I'm going to go Ohio State 23-20.
But we've got a win and you're in game for the Tennessee Volunteers. Somebody forgot to tell that to Vanderbilt, because I can tell you right now, they may not be an SEC contender, but they have a say in who gets in the SEC title and who gets in the playoffs. This has been a scary Vanderbilt team. And we're looking at senior day for Diego Pavia and friends for the Commodores. Nah, I'm all right. I've got some stuff dealing with off-air stuff. It's all good, man. I'm not ready to tell it just yet. But anyway, the Vanderbilt Commodores, we know they're that team that upset Alabama. And they kept it close with Texas. Do not take this game off your eyes. I get it. There's Michigan, Ohio State, and South Carolina Clemson. We will get to in a little bit. But do not, and I repeat, do not take your eyes off Tennessee Vandy.
Yes. Jackson, this is no longer the throwaway game. Like, in years past, this would have been the throwaway game. Like, it's Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, Jackson, they're a legit threat. Like you said, don't take your eyes off this game for 1 minute. Diego Pavia, he's a gunslinger. He's really good. I like him. He brings an edge to Vandy that I think that what gives them the confidence to go out there and beat anybody. And like you said, they beat your Crimson Tide. They almost beat Texas. Could they spoil Tennessee season? Oh, goodness. Jackson, could you imagine if Vandy somehow pulls this off?
That would be interesting. Helps Alabama.
The question is, it does. It helps Alabama, yeah.
I said the quiet part out loud.
Oh, no, Jackson. Well, that means it's not going to happen now. You shouldn't have said it. Oh, well.
I've been doing pretty good. I can tell you right now, TJ and John would definitely love your call in. That they would love to hear your take on the Wolverine call-in show. I know TJ would definitely love to hear your takes.
And Doc P says Tennessee got a good defense. Yes. Tennessee has only given up, I think, over 20 points one time this year, and that was to Georgia. But honestly, as much as I want Vandy to pull off an upset just to create chaos, I think, like Doc P said, Tennessee's defense, I think, is too much. I think that they'll fluster Vandy's offense. I'll go 28-10 Tennessee.
I think the Tennessee Volunteers win it 31-28 against Vanderbilt.
Yeah, unfortunately. But Jackson, we have this next game here.
A college football playoff second round game.
Yes. Take it away, good buddy. Go for it.
The South Carolina Gamecocks, we look back at them, they barely beat Old Dominion. They lost. They routed Kentucky. This team could be something. They blew it against LSU. They got smacked around by Ole Miss. They blew it against Alabama. But then something came over the Gamecocks, especially when they smacked Oklahoma 35-9, and especially when Shane Beamer made his return to Norman, Oklahoma, since he left there. And yes, Clemson lost to Louisville. And of course, we saw South Carolina upsetting and smacking around the A&M Aggies on ABC Saturday night. They smacked Vanderbilt in their home turf, beat Mizzou in a tight fashion game. And they beat Wofford because they're supposed to. And now, a college football playoff second round matchup. If it's not played if it's not looked at as such, we might as well look at it that way now.
Yes. This, Jackson, at the beginning of the year, was just one of those games on Rivalry Week. It was for state pride. Now, all of a sudden, Jackson, they're playing for more than state pride. They're playing for the right to possibly be a bid in the college football 12-team playoff. And Jackson, who would have thunk who would have ever thought South Carolina in playoffs? Think about that, Jackson. Because what do you always tell me about Shane Beamer and South Carolina in the SEC? What's your famous saying to me?
You stick with Shane. You stick with Shane Beamer. You're gonna have good things happening to you.
And you also tell me that he may not win you the SEC championship, but he'll take you to plenty of bowl games.
He'll certainly give you good enough 10-win seasons.
Yes, and just think about this though, Jackson. If they beat Clemson, does South Carolina sneak into the 12-team playoffs? I'm going to put that out there now. They beat Clemson Saturday, Jackson. Do you think they've done enough to earn a playoff spot?
Oh, if Clemson wins, they basically earn the
South
spot.
Carolina.
If South Carolina wins they basically earn that spot. I mean, it's according to the committee, they will have earned that spot. They may not say it publicly on Saturday, but Sunday, December 8th is the date that counts. And the Gamecocks know it. They know it.
Yes. And 1-2 says Clemson, who can't even make the ACC title game, is worthy of an at-large bid. Crazy. Well, 1-2, Clemson still is alive for the ACC, believe it or not. Because if Miami loses to Syracuse, that Clemson would get spot, which we'll get to that in a minute.
Oh, yeah. And, and I think also, as Austin has pointed out, brand bias. So it's like Clemson's got a
Mhm.
humongous brand. They've won a lot with Dabo. So it's
Mhm.
going to be, oh, we got great nostalgia of Dabo Sweeney. They should be in automatically. But SMU doesn't get that much love. We saw how the committee's been treating them. It just takes one screw up for SMU, they're out. Oh, but they're in the
Mhm.
AC title game as a runner-up at 11-2. Well, you didn't do enough, SMU. It's like the meme of the good-looking guy that says hi to the pretty girl, and then like the big fat
Mhm.
sweaty dude is saying hey to the pretty girl, and she's like calling HR. That's what SMU is. The big fat sweaty dude that's saying hi to the pretty lady, and she's calling HR on them.
Oh goodness. I'll say this, Jackson. I know everyone's probably going to be watching Michigan, Ohio State, right? This is another game. Keep your eyes on at noon. Don't go to sleep on this because this is
No.
going to be a fun game. And Jackson, call me nuts, call me crazy. Everyone out there in YouTube land, call me nuts. I'm going South Carolina on Saturday. I got the Gamecock fever. I'm believing in South Carolina. They've shown me a lot over this year. And Clemson, even though they're at home, I feel like South Carolina is going to pull this out. Shane Beamer and company are gonna sneak out another big time road victory and spoil Clemson's season. I'm going 34-20, 34-27 South Carolina.
You know something, birthday boy? I'm right there
What's
with you.
that? Uh-oh. Oh boy.
The
This can
Gamecocks are gonna pull it off, get their 6th straight win of the season with a 24-21 victory over the Clemson Tigers on Saturday at ESPN at noon.
Oh boy.
And yes, this game should have been on Black Friday. Clemson didn't want
Well,
that.
Jack.
They should have just gotten over it. I mean, because honestly, looking back now, it's like, and we'll get to like the 2:30 lineup in a little bit, but honestly, we should have just had Georgia Tech on Black Friday along with South Carolina Clemson. Oh, we already got there, Sean. We pit I pit the Ohio State 31-20. Oh, who'd you pick again, Austin?
Ohio State 23-20.
Oh man.
Illinois should win, right?
Yeah, they'll smack them 38-7.
I'll
Northwestern.
go 31. I'll go 31-13.
There's your boys. Take it away.
Oh, please. Please. Please,
Do
Louisville.
it.
Please.
Do it.
Please, Louisville. Don't let me
Kentucky
down.
sucks. Kentucky sucks. You suck,
Jackson.
Kentucky. You suck. You freaking suck, Kentucky.
Oh, gosh. Jackson, please don't give them any ammunition.
SUCK.
Because even though
KKEUUCKY suck.
Oh Lord, Jackson, you wait till we get to Auburn, Alabama. I'll start that with you and see how you like that.
That's all right with me, man. I mean, I'm. Those assholes have been messing with you this season, good buddy. And Kentucky annoys the hell out of me. That's the thing about it. You're
Imagine being.
I'm not so nice. I'm not so nice.
That's the thing, Jackson. Imagine being in the state and being a Louisville fan. You know how it is. Like, Auburn, Alabama. I'm sure you get those Auburn fans that pop off every now and then saying, "Oh, we're going to beat Alabama, even if it's our only win." I'll be like, "Hush, Auburn, hush. Your claim to fame is Cam Newton. Hush. Go away. Shoot." And then Kentucky, they're basically like, when's basketball season? That's their claim to fame. But yeah, we're going off the rails here. This has gotten wacky. We should win. But Kentucky has had our number the last couple of years. We should win. I'll go Louisville 34-24.
I'm going to go Kentucky 28-14 against the Kentucky Wildcats. Austin versus yeah. Oh man, Darrell.
Oh,
Oh man,
Lord.
Darrell was funny as hell tonight on tonight's edition of the playoff rankings. He's funny as hell. Like, oh my god, like I always get a big kick out of him because, like, especially when I still get a big laugh out of when he said on New Year's Day about Michigan, where when he said the jump where he was like, I hate to say it, but if Michigan had lost to Alabama, everybody would look at him like TCU. That's just how it would have been. That's just how it would have been, John. They would have looked at him like TCU. That's just how everybody would look at him.
Oh, goodness.
Like, if that guy does not have his
UMass.
own show, I don't know. Like, he's funny as hell, man. I mean, the dude is funny. Like, and yeah, the people that love him, it's gonna be. I want to hear what he has to say next. And the people that really don't like him, it's gonna be. I want to hear what he's got to say next. It's like, well, if they hate him, why do they watch him? Most common response. I want to hear what he has to say next. I want to hear. No, yeah, go away, UConn. Dude, Wake Forest. You suck. Bye.
Yeah,
Wait
Duke should win.
Wait until you hear my Joker Mark Hamill impression one of these days.
Duke should win, even though it's at Wake Forest. Duke should win. I'll go Duke 27-13.
Oh, Duke's going to win 31-10. Onward to Kansas Baylor.
Here
That's
we
more
go.
important.
Yes, because Kansas all of a sudden has played their way into bowl eligibility after what looked like to be a blink of all of a sudden Kansas is on fire. They've beaten 3 ranked opponents in a row. Jackson, where was this at the beginning of the year? Because you picked them to win the Big 12. You bought the brand hype. Where was this at the beginning of the year? Take it away, good buddy, because
November they realized we're on the brink of missing bowl eligibility, so we've got to get things rolling, and they are disapproving. And what happens is they smack 3 ranked teams in a row. They are the first team with a losing season to do that. Another amazing accomplishment of Lance Leopold and the magic he's been doing. And as for the Baylor Bears, I, like a lot of people, wrote them off when they were starting 2-4, but somebody forgot to tell Baylor that because they had been on a humongous 5-game winning streak, and Dave Aranda is staying in Waco, Texas, friends. I love the job he's been doing in the 2024 season. Sean Garner says Kansas would be 10-1 if games were 58 minutes long. Agreed. I mean, maybe just set it up to like how EA Sport, just get the settings ready, set it up like you're playing EA Sports, and you're good to go.
Yeah, Jackson, and here's the thing too. For Kansas, they could honestly, Jackson, and I don't think anyone would disagree with me, but Kansas could be playing for the Big 12 title right now if they just would have gotten their act together in the beginning, they could be possibly in playoff conversation. Like, I don't even think I'm crazy for saying that. But as we know, Kansas, like, the old saying is they were the best 58-minute team in football. If the last 2 minutes didn't exist, Kansas would be 9-2 right about now. But with all that being said, Jackson, Kansas is on a roll. They're playing great football. Give me the Jayhawks continue to roll. I'm going to go 37-21 Jayhawks.
There you go. And I'm going to go with Kansas to win 31-24 in this battle.
Oh, boy. Here's a mid-off right here, Jackson. Oh, jeez. All right. Who's going to watch West Virginia, Texas Tech?
Me.
Oh, that's right. I forget, Jackson. I got to stop asking that question because we're sickos. We're punishing ourselves. We're going to watch Neil Brown versus Joey McGuire. Or
Yep.
Not Joey McGuire. I said it right? Okay, good.
Yep. Well, it doesn't matter because he's a moron.
Please explain, Jackson. Why do you think he's a moron?
Because he's losing constantly. He's overhyped.
I'll go Texas Tech. They're at home. I'll go Tech 41-38 and shootout.
And Neil Brown is going to be gone pretty soon, I suspect.
But Jackson, you got to make your pick good, buddy. I ain't letting you off the hook.
Well, I think West Virginia's going to win 42-38. This game looks like hell.
So Neil Brown's a dead man walking, but you think West Virginia's going to win. Jackson?
No, it doesn't matter.
It
doesn't matter if he wins or loses. It's not what I think. It's what West Virginia thinks. They're pissed. They got the torches and pitchforks outside the sheriff's office wanting the prisoner.
Jackson, that's what I love about you the most, good buddy. Is you said Neil Brown's done, but he's going to win this game. Jackson, that's the most Jackson answer I've ever heard. That's one of the reasons why I love you to death.
Oh man, I love doing this stuff with you too, man. It's awesome, man.
1-2, don't you put that out there. You stop that. You're gonna
be making us look like deadgum skeletons. I mean, I already got bags under my eyes, gentlemen. Don't do that.
1-2 says, who wants an 8-way tie for first in the Big 12?
No.
Don't you? Please.
Hell no.
No. Because then me and Jackson will be up till almost 6 in the morning trying to figure out every scenario. Please, no.
Oh, man.
Oh, my gosh. Please, Big 12, just please. No 8-way ties on Saturday. Dear God, please, no. Okay. Go for it.
Pitt, Boston College, but Pitt's just been like Eeyore building their house. What is going on with them?
Jeez. Yeah, Pitt, Jackson. I feel like Jackson, Pitt was a nice story. And, I feel like Pitt's now getting hit with the injury bug really bad. And Narduzzi, his defense, making critical errors. It's been a disaster the last couple of weeks. As for Boston College, Thomas Castellano transfers because he got benched. Their backup comes in, and BC's fighting for bowl eligibility. They've been looking better, but they're looking better, but once again, they've been playing pedestrian competition within the ACC. SMU, they gave them a run for their money. SMU's not pedestrian, but their last two opponents were. I'll go Boston College at home. Pitt's been looking like a disaster zone lately. I'll go BC 21-18.
They've looked like hell. So you know what? I'm gonna go Boston College. It's gonna be 28-21. Oh, Penn State, Maryland, win, and you're in Penn State. It's gonna be 45-3.
So Penn State covers the spread.
Yep.
I'll go 46-3.
Yep.
Here we go. Here's a better game. Miami at Syracuse. This game has ACC title implications on the line. Miami, you win, you're going to Charlotte to play SMU, but Syracuse could spoil everything on Saturday. Because if they do that, Clemson's got a date with SMU. What happens in this game, Jackson?
Oof. If SMU wins, well, they're still in the playoff race, but they have to. Well, they got to
not
make sure.
SMU, Miami.
Oh, Miami, Syracuse.
Miami.
My bad. Where's my mind at? I'm looking at it. I'm looking
In the
at every whole
gutters.
thing under the sun. I was looking at SMU Cal for a moment. My bad. Miami. Well, they lose. They're out of the ACC title race. But, can Fran Brown turn into a hero?
Yeah. Jackson, I'll say this real quick. Can we just give Syracuse a little love? You know, because Jackson, at the beginning of the year, we were very down on Syracuse. I know I was. And I know you've even mentioned, I think, you didn't think they were going to do too hot, right?
Oh, nobody
did. You have
did.
Syracuse making a play? I'd very say I had Syracuse going 6-6, I think. I think that's what I said in the beginning of the year. Did you have them making a bowl at least, Jackson, or no?
Barely.
Barely? Okay. But what a great job they have. Kyle McCord, he's been a fantastic addition. You know, other than his couple bad games, which all quarterbacks, I think, have eventually, he's been a welcome addition to this team. I think he's really helped this team. And after Ohio State threw him out on a rail, said, "Oh, we don't want you anymore. You suck. Go away." He goes Syracuse and he elevates them to a winner, you know, to a winning bowl team. But to 1-2's question, Jackson, is Miami the most overrated? They have a case for it. You can make an argument for a lot of teams. You can make an argument. I've heard some people make the argument Indiana. I've heard some people say Penn State's the most overrated. It's a very subjective question. But what do you think, Jackson, to 1-2's point? Is Miami the most overrated?
He has a point. He has a point.
And Keith Choppin said Fran Brown did a great job. I agree. I think Fran Brown, they need to give him all the money they can. They need to pony up, so to speak.
Let's be honest. Not only if Miami wins, do they clinch a spot in the ACC title game, they basically clinch a spot in the playoffs. Because, again, people have too much nostalgia for the 80s. They have too much nostalgia for the good old days and what it was like being in the decade that they grew up in and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Keith Choppin says Miami could easily be 7-4. Yeah. I mean, not to go over their history too much, but let's be honest. They could have lost to Cal, Virginia Tech. They could have lost to Louisville. And then, of course, they lost to Georgia Tech. And Sean Gardner says Honda McCord has a great shining moment. Q's 45-41. Oh, boy.
Yep.
I'll say this. If Kyle McCord plays really good, they have a chance because Miami has been pedestrian at times. But Cam Ward fixes all their problems. I'll let you go first, Jackson. Do we see the dome strike again?
No. Miami is going to win this one 38-27 against Syracuse. And they clinch not only a spot in the ACC title game, but a playoff berth.
1-2 says Miami's defense is garbage. Look at the over-under. I know, right? I'll say, hence why Cam Ward has won him a lot of those games. I'll go Miami 34-31.
You know, we've got some fun games. One of them is on CBS. The 2024 edition of the Notre Dame USC rivalry. How are you feeling about this, Austin?
Honestly, Jackson, a couple weeks ago, I would have said Notre Dame should win by double digits. They're playing some of their best football since that NIU game. But all of a sudden, USC's come to life again, Jackson. Is Lincoln Riley, and like 1-2 says, I think USC is going to surprise people. Don't sleep on this game. It's going to be one of the better games in the 3:30 window. Lincoln Riley, the offensive wizard, he is. I think he's got a little magic left. Because Jackson, what the committee has told us tonight, and what they've said all the last couple of days since Saturday, Notre Dame, you beat USC, you've got a spot in the playoffs. No questions asked. But if you lose to USC, you're eliminated. And here's the thing. And Sean Gardner says skating by UCLA isn't exactly coming to life. Listen. Let me take you on a little ride here with me, okay? I'm going to take you on a little ride with me here. What I mean by coming to life is USC looks like they're re-energized. They act like they want to be there now. And yes, we look at results. But USC is winning these games now, where early in the year they were losing them. They're winning them now. And I really honestly think that they're coming to life. They're showing heart. They act like they want to be there. They're going bowling. And Lincoln Riley, being the offensive mastermind he is, I would not sleep on this game. I could see an upset. I really can. Like, call me nuts, call me crazy. I could see Notre Dame blowing this.
Call me maybe.
Because, let's be honest. Call me maybe? Oh, goodness. But
well, he did say call me crazy, so I got to say call me maybe.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Well.
Call me maybe.
Oh, boy. You threw me on a train of thought now. Oh, Lord. Oh, yes. Sean Gardner says you're nuts and you're crazy.
Well, call me maybe, Sean. Call me maybe.
Yeah, call Jackson maybe. and here's his number. So call me maybe. There. Oh my gosh!
I love this show.
But everyone's waiting on Notre Dame to trip over their feet again, right? People are waiting on it. And this could be Saturday. I'll say this. It's in Southern California. This is a very winnable game for USC. Do I think that they'll win? I don't know. Jackson, what do you think? Like, give me your thoughts on this game. Does USC have a chance at all? Or is Notre Dame just too good right now?
Notre Dame is thinking about getting in the 12-team edition of the playoffs. And they win, they're in. They lose, they maybe get in as an 11th seed. So I'm going to go Notre Dame 31-21 against USC.
You know what, Jackson? upset city. I'm going USC Saturday. Give me the Trojans 27-23. Give me USC to win and ruin Notre Dame's playoff hopes. And 1-2 says if Notre Dame loses, they'll have to be out of the playoffs, in my opinion. Oh, they've made no bones about it tonight. They even said if Notre Dame loses, they've got no path back because of their loss to NIU. And I think, Jackson, you've even said that these last couple shows we've done. And even you said it on the Alabama channel. It would be helpful if Notre Dame lost another one.
Yep. We
But here we
need
go.
it.
Speaking of
As a Bama fan, I need it. Alabama needs it. But Notre Dame, they need it. But we got
Here
the
we go. Hold on.
2024 edition of the Iron Bowl between the Alabama Crimson Tide and the Auburn Tigers at Bryant-Denny Stadium on ABC. You know, this is the first time since the 90s that we are seeing the Alabama-Auburn matchup on ABC. That is going to be a humongous matchup. Auburn is coming off on a momentum shifting win against Texas A&M in quadruple overtime. And the Alabama Crimson Tide is coming off a humongous, terrible, horrible, no good, very bad loss against the Oklahoma Sooners from Norman, Oklahoma, where they got smacked around like a kid again, 24-3. And this game is in Tuscaloosa. And if Alabama loses this matchup, not only will it be the worst season since 2007 for Alabama statistically, but it will also be the first time since the 2010 season on Black Friday where they lose in Tuscaloosa to Auburn. And what has been going on with the Alabama Crimson Tide? It's been a little bit of everything, in my opinion. The O-line has been a disaster. The whole team, the 5 stars are not getting enough playing time. Nothing, zero zilch. Maybe the 2025 recruiting class will be a lot better because it's the number 1 in all of college football. But we're not in 2025. We're still in now. And I'm honestly not surprised that we're still in it. Because I feel like if Alabama was somebody else, like an Arizona State or a Houston or a Wake Forest, they would not be 13th in the nation at 8-3. And I think the thing that's really helped us is that humongous win over Georgia. That has been our ace in the hole, that ace under our sleeve is the win over Georgia.
And South Carolina and Missouri being ranked in the CFP top 25 now really is making your resume look good.
Mm-hmm. It has been humongous.
Yes. And here's the thing. I know I'm probably going to tick some people off by saying this. I think Alabama-Auburn, I think it's the greatest rivalry in college football history. My personal opinion. I think it's the greatest rivalry that ever existed. You know, because I feel like we have been delivered classic after classic. The kick six, Isaiah Bond in the back of the end zone. You know, we had Bryce Young's 99-yard game-tying touchdown drive. We had the comeback game. And I feel like this rivalry always delivers. We always get a game. You always know Alabama-Auburn, it's going to deliver. It's going to be the game of the year. It's going to be one of the best games you watch on Rivalry Week. And like you said, Jackson, the fact that people have said, they were like, Alabama cannot make the playoffs. They're done. Their history. It's over. But guess what? Alabama's not dead. Alabama's very much in it still. And people, I know, are going to get upset because they're like, why is Alabama still in this race? Why is Alabama still here? They should be gone. It's just like, here's the thing: they're Alabama. Alabama's never dead. Alabama could be 7-5, and the committee would still find a way to put them in the conversation. Let's not kid ourselves here. And I know Jackson's probably thinking, "Okay, Austin, you're going a little crazy," but it's true. And 1-2 says Alabama's only alive because of the GA win and CFP bias. And Sean Garner says OSU Michigan is great, but no trees have been murdered in our rivalry. Oh, goodness gracious. And Dave Lynch says definitely up there. I don't think it's the greatest rivalry. It definitely has the most hate between the both fans. That's just my personal opinion. I know I might be making some people upset and losing some people, but it's just my personal opinion. Each their own. Each their own. But Jackson, how concerned are you? Let me start there. How concerned are you?
Very, very concerned. I really don't know which version of Alabama we're going to see. Is it going to be the one we saw against Georgia and LSU and Missouri, or the one we saw against Oklahoma, Tennessee, Vanderbilt? Auburn, what I've been sounding the alarm that Auburn could put a scare into us. Oh, but you've got that winning streak in Tuscaloosa against Auburn. That doesn't mean anything.
Keep chopping. I love that comment. I'm sorry, Jackson.
Right.
Fine bomb might retire.
I mean, he's got a spot on the Jacksonian for an interview waiting for him, and he can come on in on Crimson Tide Live if he wants to. Be like, just might have to change the time for that episode. Just be like, oh well, we'll have to change time for you. Just let me talk to my boss about it. Give him a heads up because he doesn't schedule.
Dave Lynch says because ESPN's biased towards the SEC. That's true. But back to your point, though, Jackson. My apologies. That was just too funny.
You're good. I'm good to go. But yeah, the Auburn Tigers. Which version will we see of them? The one who won against A&M, or the one who fell apart against Cal, Arkansas, and Oklahoma?
Goodness. You know what's sad, Jackson? Before we make our picks, this game's not on CBS. I'm kind of sad. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I don't mind ABC, but Jackson, you have to think the nostalgia of the CBS brand. That would be like putting Ohio State, Michigan on ABC instead of Fox. There's just some things that just fit like a glove. And Alabama Auburn has been a tradition on CBS. Can they make an exception and just have Bama Auburn every year on CBS, please, for the good of the sport?
Well, honestly,
I'm begging you.
There was a time where it felt right seeing Ohio State, Michigan, and I think it just takes time. I think it really does. Where it's like there was a point where people had nostalgia for Alabama Auburn being on ABC, especially when you heard Keith Jackson calling the Alabama Auburn matchup in 1981 and 1982, 1983, 1985. Let me see. Brent Musburger called 1992. Al Michaels called the Wrong Way Bow game in 1984.
I'll say this, Jackson. If I ever get,
I promise you, when that announcement comes of Al Michaels retiring, there's going to be an Al Michaels tribute, not just here on this channel, but there's going to be a little bit of a tribute to Al Michaels on Alabama The Voice College Football, because Al Michaels did call some memorable games for Alabama football on ABC.
He did what? Oh, Al Michaels.
In the early 80s and the late 70s.
He did what? That old Al Michaels. But yeah,
Thank you. I've watched a lot of Keith Jackson videos on YouTube, and I had like those Alabama VHS tapes of Keith Jackson talking about Alabama football. So I mean that helps. So it's going to be fun seeing the Alabama Crimson Tide against the Auburn Tigers on ABC
yeah,
Sports.
Doc P's not a big fan of big noon kickoff. Need a better time slot for Fox.
Big afternoon kickoff.
Big afternoon kickoff. But I'll say this,
Big
Jackson.
evening kickoff.
Yeah, big 4 p.m. kickoff. I mean, it'll take a while to get used to, but okay. I'll be here for it. I'm sure Jackson would too. I mean, we got nothing better to do. But I'll say this, to get back to Auburn, Alabama, because we still got some humongous games left.
Yep.
Oh, here we go. Big twilight kickoff. Oh, Lord. People be thinking watch the Twilight Marathon or Big Midnight in Hawaii kickoff. Oh, Lord. We got to stay up to midnight.
Big Twilight kickoff? Who'd watch? Oh, man. Is it? Good grief.
Like, who's gonna watch Ohio State, Indiana at midnight? Well, we probably would because we don't. Our heads aren't quite straight. But anywho, back to Auburn, Alabama. This has gone completely off the rails, and we're completely okay with it because we're off the rails. We're nuts. But yeah. Johnson, since you're the Bama man, I'll let you pick first. What's going to happen Saturday?
Well, I've got the Alabama Crimson Tide winning 31-24 against Auburn, but I would not be surprised if this game resulted in an Auburn upset as Auburn clinches bowl eligibility in the second year of Hugh Freeze. Because, I mean, at this point, either result surprises me. No, it's not going to surprise me either way. Nothing surprises me, especially in the rivalry of the Iron Bowl.
Jackson, this is going to be a really close game, but I think we're in for another vintage moment. And Jalen Milroe is going to be down a field goal, and he's going to take them down there, tie it. We're going to go to overtime, and then Milroe's going to lead them in overtime. I'm going Alabama 29-23 in overtime.
Wow.
Jalen Milroe has a Heisman moment. 29-23 Bama in overtime, thus propelling them to the playoffs.
And we've got the Arizona State-Arizona rivalry on Fox. And if Arizona State wins this matchup, they are in the Big 12 championship.
Give me Arizona State. Arizona, they've been bad all year. Disappointing. A lot of people had high hopes for them. But give me Arizona State. They're rolling right now. And they're coming off a big win. I get it for letdown. But I think Arizona State gets it done 34-16.
Arizona State is going to win this matchup 35-17. And now we head to Cal SMU. Some dude said once Cal has hype.
Yes. I'll go SMU at home 42-20.
SMU 45-21. And we got the Missouri Tigers going up against the Arkansas Razorbacks on SEC Network. In a way, I know it's been played on Rivalry Week since 2014, but it doesn't really scream rivalry.
No. Missouri has been playing. They're not the
Pitiful.
Missouri of last year,
Pitiful.
but Arkansas has played spoiler this year. You know what, Jackson? Give me Arkansas to play another spoiler on Rivalry Week. They go into Missouri, beat a banged-up Mizzou team. Give me Arkansas 30-28.
I've got Arkansas winning 28-24. Road dog.
Oh, goodness. Rutgers, Michigan State. Oh, Lord. We got to watch that.
Hell. That's hell.
You know what? Give me Michigan State 21-20 in East Landing. 21-20 Michigan State.
I think Rutgers going to win 24-21.
I'll take Fresno in this game. 35-28.
UCLA is going to win this 28-21. But here's the last regular season game of Mac Brown as the head coach in the second part of the North Carolina era, as they go up against a very unhealthy North Carolina State team. What has been going on with the Wolfpack? What's been going on with the Tar Heels? They've been a disaster. Austin, you can give it better than I can.
Here's the thing, Jackson. NC State, Jackson, if you remember, I think they were predicted to finish, third in the preseason bowls this year? Is that right, Jackson?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people thought this was the best team Dave Doring's built. A lot of people thought they'd be really good. Like they would be the team that could play Miami or Clemson for the title. But then, like you said, they've been banged up, injured. They haven't found their quarterback. And as for North Carolina, Jackson, Mac Brown, God rest his soul, but it's just one of them things where he's going in one direction, they're going in the other. And their defense, looked good there for a minute, but then gave us 70-plus points to James Madison. It got ugly. And now they fire him just a couple days for the biggest game of their season, which is very wrong, too. They should have done it after they got done with their season, but I digress. I'm not in the front office. Jackson, does Mac Brown have one more vintage moment in him?
Yes. Yes, he does. And yes, he most certainly did.
So, I'll let you pick first, Jackson. Who are you going with?
I'm going to go with North Carolina to finally get a win with a 31-28 victory.
I'll go North Carolina 38-28.
Well, Trojan Fight, we're sorry to tell you this, but we picked Notre Dame over USC. Sorry to put it out this way.
No, Jackson. Don't you get me in trouble with USC fans. I picked Trojans.
Oh, you did. My bad. My bad. My ears are messing with me tonight.
Trojan Fight. Jackson's the doubter down here. I went with USC. Like, I'm on your all side.
My error, man.
TCU and Cincinnati. Oh, Jesus.
Easy. TCU wins 28-21. Cincinnati's a disaster.
You know what? Give me Cincinnati at home. 31-21.
Oh, there we go. Indiana, Purdue on Fox Sports 1. Indiana is going to smack Purdue off the face here, 48-3.
40-7, Indiana.
Florida State. Let's get this game over with. That's the game that should be on the CW. Why in God's name would you put that on ESPN too? Why would you put Oklahoma LSU on ESPN? Florida State, you either put that at 11 a.m. or you put it on CW. That is not prime time. You put Clemson, South Carolina at nighttime.
Jackson, they were like, Florida State and Florida will be ratings.
What is this, 1994? This ain't 1997.
Jackson, I guess even the CW didn't want that stench on their network.
Well, you're right. I guess another Gilmore Girls rerun is better than this crap show.
Yeah, Jackson, they were like, you know what? We don't want it. No. Yep, we'll never get another contract from any other conference if we put this game on here. You know what, ESPN? You could take a hit. It'll be fine. Y'all have got billions.
Oh, well, I'm gonna go Florida 35-10.
31-16. Florida.
Here we go. Oklahoma LSU on ESPN.
Does Oklahoma have a letdown, Jackson? And it's at night.
In Baton Rouge.
Yeah. Brian Kelly normally doesn't lose these type games.
LSD.
Oh, jeez.
LSD.
I'll let you pick first, good buddy.
Yes, we did talk Tulane and Memphis. I went with Tulane.
We both picked Tulane.
You picked Tulane?
Yes.
Yeah, we really have to write this stuff down. I went I'm gonna go. I think LSU wins it. I'm gonna throw it later. I'm gonna go LSU 24-21.
Yeah, LSU at night normally wins these games. I think Oklahoma's riding too much of a high after beating Bama. I'll go LSU 27-23.
And we got Washington, Oregon on NBC. Can Oregon beat the Washington Huskies finally?
It's at home in Autzen. You know, the Ducks, they did have their one, I think, bummer game against Wisconsin. Washington's been up and down this year. Give me Oregon at home. I'll go Oregon 30-22. I'll go 30-22 Oregon.
Oregon wins 31-14. Oh, here we go. This is the game. Here we go. The game we've been waiting for. Yes.
The biggest game, arguably the most impactful game this week in this whole slate of games. Maybe the most impactful game there is, because it's win and you're going to play Georgia for the SEC title in 2 weeks. And Jackson, even though Texas A&M blew it to Auburn, they're still in the hunt. They win, they're going to play Georgia next weekend. They lose, they're back to mediocrity. And Texas and Georgia will rematch in Atlanta. Your take on this game, Jackson?
Man, the moment I heard Texas, Oklahoma were going to join the SEC in July of 2021, one of my first thoughts was this game is going to return. It's going to come back, the college football. It's going to come back on Rivalry Week. It's going to be humongously fun seeing the Lone Star Showdown come back in all of college football on an annual basis.
Mm-hmm. But there is some news we do need to share with our audience, Jackson. As exciting as all that is, what is the status of Quentin Ewers for Saturday? Because he is dealing with an ankle injury. What's the status as of tonight?
He's not going to be 100%, but I think honestly they need to just have him sit and chill. They need to just let him sit and chill.
Here's the problem, though, Jackson. That could cost Texas their season too.
No, it's not.
I get it.
Texas will be
Jackson,
in the playoff race no matter what because they're 10-2 in the SEC. If they were an ACC team or a Big 12 team, they'd be left dead in the water.
Here's the thing. Oh, Trojan Fight makes a great point. Hey, wait, Texas can't make the playoffs, right? We were told in 2023 you're missing your QB matters. Jackson, as much as you keep bringing biasing stuff, Trojan Fight makes a great point. So Quentin Ewers can't go. By what the committee told us, that they're eliminated, correct? Right?
The rules are going to be they're going to come up with something. That I can guarantee.
Because Jackson Trojan Fight is basically saying if Ewers doesn't play, Texas has to be eliminated because that's what they did to Florida State.
I don't think they'll do that to Texas. They're not going to screw over what's making them money. They're not going to screw over. They're not going to screw up their bread and butter. I don't see the playoff committee doing that because they're making too much money off the SEC.
But here's the thing, though, Jackson. I agree with him, though. If they denied Florida State a spot because of that, shouldn't we treat everybody like that?
They should, but they won't.
Because, Jackson, that's like telling one of your favorite – it's like if you got two kids and you look at one and say, here, you can have a cookie, even though you did absolutely nothing right. But here, you could still have a cookie while the kid that did everything right just gets a nice little pat. Good job. Now,
exactly. Or like the kid that does everything right in school. They're like, hey, can I have a PlayStation 5 or something like that? And then the parents are like, when you get straight A's, which is a nice way of saying no, but the kid's like, okay, I'll make straight A's. And then it's like, okay, I made straight A's. I did not mean that was not a yes. But deal's a deal. That's how it works. And I think the committee, they're going to put, Texas is in due to the committee.
And here's the thing, Jackson. Not to cut you off, but I want to play devil's advocate here. It shouldn't matter who your backup is. I don't care if he's a Manning or not. If we're going to be fair and justified, Texas should be done if Ewers can't play. If that's how we're going to treat everybody, then guess what? That's how we need to treat them. I don't care if you're Ohio State, Texas, Alabama. I don't care even if you're UConn, for Christ's sakes. If your quarterback is unhealthy and this is what the committee is telling us, then guess what? You're eliminated. Get out of here. Go play in your bowl game and be happy. You don't belong in the playoff circle. And that's what the committee's telling us, right? But because it's Texas, we just have to yours can't play? Oh well, they're already in. Whoops.
Yeah. I feel
Like-
like that's where it's at.
Once he says 2014 playoff, goodness gracious. I wouldn't say we need to do that because that's just like you have to let everybody in. Like Mike Leach once said, God rest his soul. Why don't we just make this a March Madness thing? That's a little extreme. Wouldn't you agree, Jackson, making it a March Madness thing? Isn't that a little extreme?
Yeah, I mean, college football has its own thing, and it should stay that way.
Like, don't get me wrong. We love Coach Leach around here, especially me and Jackson. But 64 teams, that's a lot. And plus playing a 14-game schedule, they would have to dial a lot back. They would be, but yeah, that's a whole nother tangent. But yeah, to Texas A&M though, if yours can't play, it's in College Station. College game days come to town. Jackson, I could smell upset. I don't know about you, but I smell upset.
Wouldn't
If
surprise
yours
me.
can't play, I'll let you go first, Jackson. Since I
Well, we
picked
know the
North.
winner of this game is in the SEC title, and honestly, I think we see if Texas A&M was to win, I think they get in, and they get in the playoffs, win or lose in the SEC title game. Because I remember hearing one of the broadcasters on Alabama Mercer. I heard him say it. In the fourth quarter of that game, they're not even talking about Alabama Mercer. They're sitting there talking about, if you go to the SEC title game, you should not be left off the playoffs, no matter the circumstance. You should not be left off the playoffs, which told me something right there. You're not seeing teams that go to the SEC title game get left off. You're not.
Here's the problem with that theory, though, Jackson. A&M would be 8-4. How do you
9 and
justify
4,
8-4?
There'd be some way the committee would justify it to us.
8-4. Think about that. 8-4. How would they justify it?
No,
Or
they
9-4, excuse me. Yes, because
they play in the toughest conference, the SEC. They play in the toughest con. Yeah, I don't care.
if that's the case, let's put Florida in, for Christ's sakes, if we want to go that route. I'm being serious. If that's what excuse we're going to use, Florida, you got a playoff spot because you went 7-5 with that schedule they gave you. Like Jackson, we sound stupid saying this, but this is what the committee's telling us. They're saying, oh, Alabama's still in it, even though they just had that horrible loss and should be nowhere near it. But because they're Alabama, we cannot make our fans lose interest, especially Alabama fans, because they would pay our bills. But I love you, Jackson. You're a good Bama fan, but ESPN, oh my gosh. Anywho, I digress. I'm getting off track. Anywho, back to your pick.
But I'm gonna go Texas 31, Texas A&M 21 in the 2024 edition of the Lone Star Showdown, where Texas clinches a spot in the SEC title game to get a rematch against the Georgia Bulldogs.
I'll say this, Jackson. If yours is not healthy, I smell upset because Texas A&M, I think, had a bit of a look ahead from last week. I even think they did it last week. I think it showed because they come prepared to play Texas. But unfortunately, Jackson, Mike Elko, as much as I love him as a head coach, I think they fall just a little short. So I think Texas is got a little too much talent. And I think they win a squeaker 38-31. 30-35 in a shootout.
Nice. And we got
I got the
20
Longhorns.
There you go. We got the 2024 edition of Farmageddon at Jack Trice Stadium on Fox. If Iowa State wins, they're in. If Kansas State wins, they're going to need a lot of help in getting in. Or they put somebody
Chaos.
out of the Big 12 title.
Here's the thing, Jackson. You said this last week. Are you still sticking with it? Do you trust Iowa State in this big moment? Because you said last week you have your concerns. You don't feel like Rocco Beck's going to be up for it.
No. I think Kansas State wins this one 31-24 at Jack Trice Stadium.
I'll say this, Jackson. Kansas State, they've had two really bad losses last couple weeks. Arizona State, and then, of course, the Houston loss. You know what? I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Kansas State too. I feel like Iowa State's gonna lose this one, 22-19. I'm gonna go Wildcats. K-State, 22-19.
And we got the 2024 edition of the Virginia Tech rivalry where the winner clinches bowl eligibility. Who do you think it's going to be, Austin?
I got Virginia Tech. It's at night.
Same.
Lane Stadium. They put Hokie Stadium at night. It's a different environment. I'll go 24-17 Hokies.
I'm going Virginia Tech 28-21 against Virginia. And finally, we have the BYU Cougars going up against the Houston Cougars on Big 12 After Dark on ESPN. How are you feeling about this game, Austin, birthday boy?
I'll say this. Will Willie Fritz spoil BYU season? I don't think so. I think BYU, they're coming. They're pardon my language, they're pissed off, they're angry, they're upset. And they got a lot to play for. I'm going BYU at home. 37-10. I think they roll.
I think BYU is going to win 38-7 against Houston on Saturday night.
Yes. And Jackson, with that being said, this was fantastic. I mean, we had a lot of great conversation. I mean, Rivalry Week always delivers. I'll say that. But before we go, Jackson, I got to say this. What game are you looking forward to the most? And what game are you least looking forward to this week? I'll let you start.
I'm looking forward mostly to Notre Dame, USC, Alabama, Auburn, and Texas A&M. Those are the three games I'm most looking forward to. And the game I'm really least looking forward to is Utah Central Florida. Because I'm probably thinking, I got to watch that game. All right, I will.
I'll say this. My ones that I'm looking forward to is, of course, Alabama, Auburn. I'm looking forward to Louisville, Kentucky, of course. And I'd probably say, may surprise people, I'm looking forward to Texas A&M. Least looking forward to, honestly, it may upset some people. I'm least looking forward to watching. I'm going to say this: Minnesota, Wisconsin, and I'm not looking forward to watching that because that could be a punt kind of game. No disrespect to the rivalry, no disrespect to any of our fans. I'm not looking forward to watching bad offenses. Like, I feel like I'm going to get a headache watching that game. And that's no disrespect to anybody. No disrespect. Don't take it as that way. No disrespect. But it's not disrespect, Jackson. And you know what is something that I can look forward to if Wisconsin, Minnesota is punt, punt, punt. I can watch Alabama, the voice of college football, and get ready to know what I'm talking about when it comes to Alabama Auburn. Even though I know quite a bit, it never hurts to get some other insider perspectives. And Jackson, you had some very special guests this week, like you always do. But you had a really special guest because it's Auburn week. And who was that, good buddy?
Who are they? Or the bear question. Got Stephen M. Smith, the editor of Touchdown Alabama magazine, where he's been featured on The Voice of College Football quite a number of times with Mark Rogers himself, and he's been on the Paul Feinbaum show over the last 5 to 6 years, giving his take on the latest on Alabama football. And we had on the Auburn equivalent of Corey Bratta, Kyle Loomis, the owner and founder and host of E2C Network, each giving us their take on the 2024 edition of the Iron Bowl. And Stephen M. joined Johnny and I to discuss his takeaways from the Alabama-Oklahoma matchup. And I can tell you, it was a fun one.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it was very fun. I highly suggest anybody that is into Alabama or dislike Alabama, check it out. You won't be sorry. I'll put my word on it. I recommend you go check out Alabama, the voice of college football. And I recommend you check them out tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central for the Alabama Special Edition call-in on Wednesday night. Because it is Thanksgiving Thursday night, and nobody wants to work on Thanksgiving. Let's not kid ourselves. We all want to spend time with our family, our wives, our girlfriends, our moms, our dads, our dogs, our cats, our pigs, our horses, our sheep, whatever you have, we want to spend time with. But Jackson, I think I've said enough. Now, do your thing, good buddy.
Well, I can tell you right now, one of the things I'm most thankful for is hanging out with you, man, and doing the Pits Analysis show with you, and doing the final whistle with you. And I'm really thankful I'm doing the Alabama call-in show with Jeffrey on Wednesday night this week, and also the college basketball recap preview show with Will and D Wednesday afternoon. I can tell you right now, I'm thankful for all you guys in the chat and you, Austin, and all of y'all that are watching later on, maybe not at this hour, but watching it on any part of the day. I appreciate all of you and my family, my friends, and just everything as a whole. And you can check me out on Jackson Johnson 979 on YouTube, where I not only make magic with Austin and Will and D, but I also host a show called The Jacksonian. Whenever I've got an episode and you see some wild guests, some amazing guests, and you'll see anybody. And I can tell you right now, it's 45 more episodes till the magic number 100. And you can also see them on Jackson VOCFB on X. And not only that, but you can see updates on what I'm doing on my channel, Alabama at the Voice College Football, the Jacksonian, and much, much more on what I've got cooking on Jackson VOCFB on X and on Instagram and Threads at Jackson Johnson 543908. Also, we've got magic coming up on the Alabama Crimson Tide call-in show, the 8th edition with Jeffrey at Only Talk Sports, where we take your calls discussing the Alabama Crimson Tide. We want to hear what you have to say and so much more. And of course, there's Monday night's edition of Crimson Tide Live, the 14th edition on Alabama at the Voice of College Football. Stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss what's at Alabama at the Voice of College Football. But Austin, what have you got going on your channel? You're muted.
Oh, there we go. There we go. It's been one of those nights. But yes, obviously this week, of course, special Tuesday night edition of Picks and Analysis with you. Probably making some clips and videos this week, setting them out on my channel. And of course, Saturday night, as always, we'll be back with the final whistle for Rivalry Week, recapping all the biggest games, biggest upsets, breaking down the title scenarios to you, giving you up to date minute by minute. Recapping Houston, BYU, of course. We'll do play by play and all that good stuff. But Jackson, I got to say this before we go. This time of year, Jackson, it really brings us all closer together. And I want to say something. I'm thankful, like you said, Jackson, for all of our fans. And I'm thankful for my family. And of course, Jackson, I'm thankful for you. Jackson, believe it or not, good buddy, I didn't have very many friends in high school. And until I met you, Jeffrey, Will, I never really had many friends. I never really had that camaraderie. But Jackson, I'd like you to know, no, Jackson, I consider you like a brother. And I appreciate you accepting me into your life. I'm very thankful. And I'm thankful to all of you for accepting me into your homes, into your computers, and listening to me talk about Louisville, talk about Colorado, because you don't have to listen to me if you don't want to. But you want to. You care about this. And I appreciate it. And that will not be forgotten. And one day when I make it big, I'll make sure to take care of my people. And Jackson, that includes you too. And that'll be my mission in life. Once I get big and make it somewhere, I'll take care of the people that helped me get here. I'm thankful for you. I love you guys. And this is fun, but it's not over yet. We've got plenty more left to go.
Yes, we do. And with that note, we wish y'all a happy Thanksgiving and a good night and to sleep well, stay safe, stay warm. It's cold outside. Like, comment, subscribe, click on the notification bell so you never miss another video whatsoever, and we'll catch you soon. Good night, everybody.
Go Cards, everybody.
Roll Tide.
Happy Thanksgiving.